Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? I'm Mike King, and you're listening to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The bi-monthly drunk movie review podcast. Well, we're really getting down to it now. This is our second to last drunk movie review episode. After this week, we've got just one more review coming out on July 18th, and that's Toy Story 4 featuring Nick Ossello and Amy Uhaas, Ney Camacho. After that, all that's left is our final episode on August 1st. It won't be a movie review, just a big wild celebration of the podcast featuring as many previous guests as we can drag into Joe's attic. And speaking of, if you have any final thoughts you'd like to express about the podcast, we'd love to read them on that episode. You can send them pretty much anywhere you can find us on social media, and all those links can be found over at howmanyfingerspodcast.com. Or you can shoot us an email, howmanyfingerspodcast@gmail.com. Actually, have a few drinks and shoot us a drunk email. It'll be like you're a real live drunk guest. Anyway, this week we've got podcast girlfriend Sabrie and Ross Weisman of KidFlix reviewing Men in Black International. P.S. Ross has a review of Toy Story 4 out now as well, so go check that out before our own review of that movie drops in 2 weeks. Anyway, on to the review. For the second to last time. I'm not crying, you're crying. Welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? Featuring two guys getting neuralized and reviewing movies in a weekly podcast form.
Weekly?
Oh, God.
Yo, you got KidFlix.
Bi-weekly, bi-monthly, who cares? It's ending.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
But that synonym came to us via groupthink right here at this table.
Wow.
We're all responsible for it.
Via the Hive.
They're bad, we just don't know why. There's like a lot of things in this movie. But before we jump into this movie, we got some guests to address. Man, this is... Next episode, we're going to be like, oh, this is the last episode, but this
is the last one we're recording.
This is the last one we're recording ever, so let's all hold on to this experience. It's the last time we're reviewing something on this podcast. In real time.
Last time introducing some guests. Let's do it up.
Man.
Yeah, so we've got Ross Weisman.
Hello.
Of the KidFlix podcast.
The KidFlix back. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me back.
Of course, you're one of our all-time favorites. We had to bring you back for the farewell tour.
The Mudbound boy is back.
Reigning champ of Mudbound.
I think that's still our most listened to episode.
Hell yeah.
On SoundCloud.
On Sound. Oh.
YouTube.
YouTube. We've got what?
Call Me by Your Name.
That's right.
Which is
no.
Is it because Joe kind of looks like Timothy Chalamet?
Chalamet strikes again. I wish.
Timothy Chalamet with Armie Hammer's height.
Timothy Chalamet in like a medieval torture machine.
Stretching him out. Yeah. So I was trying to like jump back on the tracks and I overjumped. But yeah, wait, you haven't started any other creative projects since then, have you?
No, I was going to, but then time got away from me.
As it does with all of us.
Yeah, but I'm looking to get new podcast equipment, so bye-bye, Blue Yeti Mike. And hello, any other Mike.
Yeah. And then you can find your stuff at...
everywhere, so at KidFlixPod on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, and you can listen wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you are listening for the first time, KidFlix, you guys review
Kids Media. Yeah.
And they're not affiliated with Netflix.
No, that's...
Make that very clear.
That's very obvious. And I have like a very crazy idea that I'm trying to figure out how to do. And if it works out, then it's going to be the greatest achievement in podcasting. And if not, I mean, regardless, nobody's going to listen to it. So please listen.
I'm going to have to subscribe now because I want to know what this is.
Let's just say I don't know. I don't care.
And then in tradition of our farewell tour, we have a doubleheader. We also have Sabrie next to Ross.
Hi.
No, let's bump those buttons up a little bit.
Sabrie, do you have anything to plug at all?
No.
Yeah, it's funny. Your name is Sabrie, but you're sweet.
Oh.
Damn, there goes my anniversary card. That was gonna be the tagline.
Crap.
Right, yeah.
We'll do some brainstorming later.
Okay,
You'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
good.
Back to the writer's room, I guess.
I'll wedding ringer you.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Oh boy.
We're both Josh Gad.
I don't know this reference.
Did you not see the wedding ringer?
Nobody's
Did
Kevin
not.
Hart.
Yeah. It was like, what if we made Hitch again?
Oh.
Wait, is he Olaf?
Yeah, he is.
Josh Gad is.
Yeah, not Kevin Hart.
And then, I think Josh Gad is also going to be the dad in the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
That
Which I
checks.
think that
Yeah,
kind of-
I
that
think
tracks, yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. So give us that IMDb international description.
Well, Joe, don't forget the most important part
Oh my
of the
gosh,
podcast.
beer!
Just because some of us aren't drinking.
Yeah, you
For our last
Mormon.
episode, what is your health in danger or something?
Maybe it is.
This week we're drinking Troeg's First Cut IPA, ale brewed with mango.
It's really good.
I like it.
We're
Oh,
not
you guys already-
sponsored, I guess.
sorry.
Oh, were we supposed to wait?
No, you can do whatever you want.
Cool, because you gave
Yeah.
the kind of thing like, oh.
This is my episode
Oh, you
now.
guys opened yours already? Weird. All right,
Yeah.
let's try this out.
It's
Kinda
very
rude.
It's very good. Like it's kind of like a hoppier Blue Moon type,
Yeah.
which I really
yeah, it's
dig.
light and nice.
Nice.
It's like a beer in like a beer commercial where it's like they're all playing basketball and they're like, oh, let's have a beer real quick.
Troeg's First Cut.
Time out, boys. Let's go grab a beer. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm gonna vomit on the court.
Can I have a Gatorade? No.
I feel like we should hydrate.
Come on, man. It's Michelob Ultralight. It's practically not even beer.
It's basically water. All right. Now I will give you your IMDb description.
Please.
Let's do it.
The Men in Black. Oh, I love this one. The Men in Black have always protected the Earth from the scum of the universe. Period. In this new adventure,
No one can
does this
dispute.
not sound like it's gonna be contrary to what was just stated? In this new adventure, they tackle their biggest threat to date: a mole in the Men in Black organization.
Is that even true that it was their biggest threat?
What?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, we could just jump right in. I felt no danger. The entire movie, I was like, okay.
This feels, it's like high stakes, but also really low stakes.
They also completely forget that this was Tessa Thompson's first mission, like, pretty early on.
Well, let's get into that. I'll
Yeah.
just do notes real quick.
Sure.
But Men in Black International was directed by F. Gary Gray, who has previously directed
Well,
Friday.
let's play a game. F. Gary Gray.
Gary, my mom. Gray Jesus. And F. Hannah Montana. You know.
Not Ashley O. Yeah, Black Mirror.
Oh, I didn't see that episode yet.
It's a wild episode. It's like the Men in Black International of Black Mirror.
I only watched Striking
saw
Vipers,
Striking
and I
Vipers,
was
and I was like,
very
"Oh, that's all I
satisfied.
need."
Yeah.
It was good. You can skip
Black Mirror
You
peak.
can skip Smithereens. That one's boring.
Really? I heard that was the best one.
Oh,
How many? I thought
disagree.
there's only 3.
There's
Yeah, there's
three.
only 3. Like, all of them kept my attention, but Smithereens is just like the whole message is like, we're all addicted to social media, but whose fault is it? And then the one with Miley Cyrus is just campy and bonkers. And they released the songs from the show on Spotify, and I would not be surprised if it made my top 2019 on Spotify.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Did she do the actual music for it?
She does. Like they're it's a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song, but they do like a very like Hannah Montana poppy version.
Which song?
Head on a Hole.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now I want want to see that.
Yeah.
But back to Men in Black.
All right.
Joe, notes, go.
Okay. F. Gary
Last notes
Gray.
ever. Last notes ever.
He directed Friday, Set It Off, The Negotiator, A Man Apart, The Italian Job, Be Cool, Law-Abiding Citizen, Straight Outta Compton, and one that we reviewed, The Fate of the Furious. In 2017, you can go back and listen to that episode.
That's a pretty
While
good
they're still
roster
there.
of movies.
It is.
I was gonna say I don't know any of them.
Really.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of them, but I've heard of at least all of them, I think.
But then he's also like directed some of like the staples of 1990s like hip hop and R&B. Like I think the first thing he did was like Ice Cube's "It Was a Good Day," which is huge. He did, Cypress Hill, Coolio, Queen Latifah. He did TLC Waterfalls.
Wow.
Wow.
He
Sold.
did Outkast, Miss Jackson.
Ooh.
He's done a lot. Whitney Houston, R. Kelly.
What was that?
Repeat that?
And now he can join in the ranks of Barry Sonnenfeld.
Wait, what did Barry Sonnenfeld do?
Didn't he directed the first 3 Men in Blacks?
Oh, I thought
I
thought
Barry Sonnenfeld
wow, did
was
Barry
giving women
Sonnenfeld have a
sex
sex
cult?
cult?
No, just released some really shoddy rap songs.
I was about to say this isn't his first time following up a Sonnenfeld film because Sonnenfeld did Get Shorty and then Gray did Be Cool. Remember that weird sequel to Get Shorty? Yeah.
I didn't know that they were related.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was just wildly unsuccessful, much like this film. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the Rotten Tomatoes on this?
We'll get there.
Okay. Bye.
Sorry I asked. 24%.
Oh.
That's higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, really.
Not by a lot, but I'm just like, huh.
It's less than a quarter, just under a quarter.
A fourth of
people.
reviewers were like, yeah, this was a fun romp.
That would be my dad.
Oh, did your dad see this?
No, but he would he likes any movie.
He just kind of like watches any movie and he's like, oh, I like
He's
that.
like, oh, that was the best movie. Wasn't that so cool? No.
That is a
Dad,
problem
no.
that I have. Like any recent thing that I've seen or listened to, I'm like, well, that was just the best. Like I remember when 4 or 5 Seconds came out, like the Rihanna, Kanye, Paul McCartney song came out. I was like, it's just like the best song. And it did come on the other day, and I was like, yeah, this.
I
is
did
still
just listen to it the other
It's
day.
a good.
It still slaps.
yeah.
It's like got a timelessness to it, but it's just.
I
Yeah,
don't really
it's-
know why Paul McCartney had to be involved. But
One Direction covered it one time.
I don't even think he knew his involvement in it either. Like,
He was
there's-
like, you just want me to play guitar in this void? Okay.
okay, mates.
Do you think 4 or 5 Seconds is gonna get covered in the movie Yesterday? And that guy's gonna be like, Kanye West wants to sing a song with me.
that looks really interesting. I would like to.
I'm really excited for that. You know what? We're gonna revive How Many Fingers
Yeah.
just for Yesterday.
I like Danny Boyle. He does a lot of.
He's good.
He's doing Yesterday?
yeah.
That's his movie.
Jeez.
So
love-
at some point, he's the main character is just going to be in
Gonna
a
be in a
pile
pile
of
of
shit. Like,
I love
poop
Steve
everywhere.
Jobs.
That was good. That was one of the first ones.
Yeah,
we
he's
did.
he's
Yeah.
a lovable guy. He's like a really.
I
He's
love how
dead.
he denied his daughter's existence for 20 years. According to the movie.
We had.
He's like, she's not my daughter. She could
Allegedly.
just draw really good on the computer that I made. Remember that part of the movie?
Yeah. Baby, I invented the iPod for you because I know you love music. Wow!
What if you could? What
This
if
is
you could have?
definitely how it happened.
What if you could have that in your pocket? Okay, Dad.
Whatever, Dad.
Lisa. Was she my daughter or a mattress? I'm having a lot of fun here,
Just
guys.
retcon Steve Jobs to, so that Lisa mattress company was out at that time.
The Macintosh, the Next, and the Lisa mattress.
All right, finish up these notes, Joe.
I mean,
Oh shit.
Last time ever, savor them, but finish them.
yeah, I mean, I've said like 2 sentences so far. I mean, the screenplay was written by writing duo Art Markham and Matt Holloway. They've previously done Shadow of Fear, Iron Man, Punisher, Warzone, Transformers, The Last Night, and I mean, y'all know what it is with the cast. Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Rebecca Ferguson, Kumail Nanjiani, Liam Neeson, Emma Thompson. Y'all get the deal.
Yeah. Wait, who is Rachel, you said? Or the third person you said after
Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah,
Rebecca
who is
Ferguson.
that?
She's the past fling with the blue
hair.
hair.
Who is she? I have no idea who she is.
I've seen her in so many things, but I never like.
Because she has different hair in those.
Yeah, she doesn't have like blue striped
Got a
hair.
great disguise.
She's like, I
I
look
feel
like
like
a
she was
space
in
tiger.
Girl on a Train.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Ask me to remember that movie, Mike.
She was in Mission Impossible movies. She was in The Greatest Showman. She was in Girl on the Train.
Yeah.
She was the train.
she played the role of the train.
Boy, you drunk, aren't ya?
Well, get on me, won't you?
I'm looking at the IMDb page for
The
Men in Black.
IMDb?
The IMDb page for Men in Black International. And they have like an ad for MIB on there, but it's got characters that are in the movie for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it's
they
the
have
four
the-
aliens.
yeah, they've got
and the
shrimps.
pug.
The worms and the pug.
That was
those
weird.
are the iconic ones.
That was
Then
weird.
put him in the movie.
It was weird that the pug. No, well, the pug was in the next to the old guy that let Tessa Thompson
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, but like make him play a big part in the movie. You're gonna use him in the ad.
Well,
Like,
it was
or
also
create
just-
a new character. Like why is Kumail's character not like? the
Honestly,
ad
why not just
for-
have the pug back to help them?
Yeah, he
I
could have
remember-
been the whole
Why
movie,
not just
and I would have
not
been
make
happy.
this movie?
What is your guys' history with the Men in Black franchise?
Well, it came out in
Love the first
1997,
movie. Oh,
and I was
you
7.
know all the dates.
Yeah, I do know all the years. The
Sammy's
second,
been memorizing the dates upstairs for those of you who are like,
At least
wow,
somebody does their homework for this podcast.
this girl is the Rain Man of Men in Black.
She's the Rain Man in Black.
but I like loved it because I loved Aliens, and I loved like Independence Day and Mars Attack, like all of that stuff. And so I don't really remember the first one, but I remember loving it.
This
Yeah.
one's great, honestly.
cool
It's one of those ones that you can like watch. Like it reminds me a lot of like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Whereas like Jurassic Park is like a good like blockbuster, just popcorn movie. But it also has like those quieter moments where when you go back and watch it as an adult, you're like, fuck, like this is still good. Like we're not really giving kids that type of like popcorn movie anymore. I feel
Yeah.
like.
And Will Smith is hot,
Yeah.
so
And he
And
makes
Tommy Lee Jones.
and he
is
makes
oh
bad.
my god, he is.
Yeah, I remember really liking the first one, and I think my family, we all saw the second one in theaters, and we were like, yeah, this is still a fun time. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, there's something about just like Will Smith that I feel like parents are like, oh yeah, let's do it. This will be a good time.
I want to see that new Will Smith movie.
Yeah, because it's like,
So true.
because I mean, I
He's
remember.
kind of- he's in that category of like Matt Damon and like
Yeah.
he can carry any movie for that generation.
But like I remember they did like the fun of it was that like they didn't really take it didn't take itself seriously. Like it was very clearly like, yeah, we're the secret organization, there are a bunch of aliens going around, and here are a bunch of crazy weapons.
It was really kooky. Yeah, it was goofy and quirky a lot of the time.
Well, I feel like I'll kind of like reflect back onto the first one a lot, but I
Sure.
feel like I think that's maybe Will Smith's like most charismatic role, and then everyone else plays it straight, kind of, and he's just a little, and then
yeah, because he's like, why are we all so
Well,
chill
yeah,
with
because
a
the
bunch of
organization
aliens?
is like established, and he's the new one coming in.
But
and
then in
shaking
this
things
movie,
up.
I feel
It's
like
all about Chris Hemsworth.
I feel like everybody's goofing around. Like even Tessa Thompson like picks up a gun at one point, and she's like, "Check, please," and I was like, "Oh yeah,
that was weird.
yeah." But the first Men in Black, it's such a tight movie too. It's under 100 minutes.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
and yeah, another thing I'll come back to is like it has
a lot happens too.
that movie has such like a great sense of discovery too. Like again, if you're like, oh cool, aliens as a kid, I feel like there's not any of that in this. And then we watched a lot of Men in Black 2 in my house because
We were a Men in Black 2 household.
because
That came out in 2002.
because my sister got it on DVD my little sister got it on DVD specifically just because she likes the scene where Frank the pug is singing and Will Smith goes, Frank! And like that was it. That was the reason we had the DVD. It's like, remember when like childhood you just used to be like your sibling watching like
The same
an
thing.
entire movie just to see like one
Yes.
scene. Yes.
You know what I miss about DVDs?
God bless YouTube now. Like kids can just be like, "What's that one scene I like?"
Yeah.
Okay.
I miss about DVDs, like when you would look at scene selection and all the scenes would be named and they were
Oh
all
my
really
God,
bad.
yeah.
Like it would be like Trouble's Brewing.
No, those are just like episode
They're all like
names.
the soundtrack song names too.
But I love the first one because also what's the name of the big alien guy, like Bug or what? The Bug. You know what I'm talking about though.
Big
like,
boy.
Right.
The guy that's like sugar
Why
or
would I
whatever.
want to say Zed?
I don't know.
I don't think that's
But
right.
that was
but
fun.
I want to say it.
I remember the villain in
DJ?
the villain in the second movie grossed me out because it was like a bunch of little like alien little things just like kind of grew together and morphed into a person, and like that kind of thing of just like little things coming together to make a big thing grosses me out so much. Like if you saw
The
Ralph
fucking Power Rangers with the Megazord.
Like, if you saw Ralph Breaks the Internet when all the sad, depressing Ralphs are... The climax of the movie is Ralph gets copied like a million times and creates like a mega Ralph. And it's so gross because you just see all these Ralphs just like wiggling and climbing on each other.
Zed was the
Disgusting.
Rip Torn character in Men in Black, the boss. Edgar was the Vincent D'Onofrio character.
If you can dodge a neuralizer, you can dodge a ball. Yeah.
And he's like pulling his face
Yes.
back. There's Sergeant Burner. What a good movie.
You know what? I think another thing is that the first Men in Black, and thinking of that character specifically, it kind of has like a Tim Burton-y type feel to it.
It feels like I mean, obviously part of the aesthetic is like the tabloids like being a part of the story too, but it feels very like backwoodsy and culty like in a way. Like it's quirky.
And as a kid,
in a way that this movie is like, this is like flashy and like hip hop. And,
Yeah,
like,
it's
it doesn't
like-
really.
I know that it's 2019 and we have like cool technology that makes things look cool, but that doesn't mean you have to make a movie just to like do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like this was.
Well, and they don't like. Not to like get on this train early, but this will kind of be my whole.
Choo.
Not to get on this Rebecca
on it,
Ferguson
Mike.
early.
Get on me train, love. Your mouth smells a bit like leftover. Emily Blunt, what are you doing?
Oh, Paul,
I'm not
what a
Emily
guy.
Blunt. I'm Emily Whiskey. Excuse me, ma'am. Could you stop talking to this train? It's a quiet place. Don't make it like Mary Poppins and return to the train.
Too far.
For the next half an hour, Ross is going down her IMDb list.
Hey, hosting SNL.
This is really the edge of tomorrow.
But what were you saying, Mike?
I don't remember. My whole sort of mantra for my review of this movie is going to be that, like, I know why. It's money. People make these movies for money. Although this didn't do terribly well at the box office.
Didn't do well at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe this will be a lesson to a lot of you. But
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why like studios approve making movies like this if they're just not going to pay attention to what made the original work.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, who's the movie for if it's not going to be like either a fresh update or staying true to like the thematic material of the original, or like the original had this like sense of like wonder for like the universe, like Sabrie was saying, where like you're seeing all this new stuff,
Discovery,
and it was very cool. And it just had like a sense of humor that like this doesn't come anywhere near.
We like
It's
barely
not
see
funny.
aliens.
Like
Right.
like this was like more like punch, like it looked like it was like a script that was like punched up, but maybe not punched up right or well enough.
Yeah.
Whereas like Men in Black, like the first movie, was like a script that was funny enough on its own and didn't need to be punched up, and it was able to use stuff that wasn't like, everything in this movie is like someone has to say something out loud. It's afraid to be like quiet in any moment.
There's
Whereas,
no like nuance.
there's
of, like,
there's quiet moments of like sentimentality in the first Men in Black, where like I always think of like the scene of like Will Smith on like the bench with like Tommy Lee Jones, where he's like, you know, yesterday you didn't know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Imagine what you're gonna like learn tomorrow, or like even like the end of that movie, like zooming out and seeing like the aliens playing like marbles and stuff.
yeah.
Like that's like a big like concept in like astrophysics.
Well, it's
and,
like it was
just
like
deep thinking. And,
the first two, and maybe I didn't see the third one, but it kind of had almost like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type thing, where it's like almost like a positive nihilism almost. That it's like, oh, like this is wild, none of it really matters, but we're all just trying to fight for order. It also, like, as a kid, I remember it kind of just touched on things that already kind of made sense, and you're just like, of course aliens exist, and of course there would be people that are trying to keep it from all of us. And obviously, because this is the fourth movie in a franchise, you don't want to do that world building again and kind of reminding people who the Men in Black are. But considering that the last one came out 7 years ago, and then before that it was 10 years, like,
Right.
you can at least like try to stay true to like the tone though, and the paint. Like you don't have to cover the actual subject material though. Like the first one, one of the scenes I always think of is like Will Smith during the training sequence or the interview sequence when they're in like those big egg chairs, and it's like a super quiet scene that ends up being hilarious because of how quiet it is. Where like everyone's like trying to do the test, everyone's like snapping their pencils, doing it, and then he like grabs the one like desk and like screeches it over to him, and he's like, "Oh, y'all want to get in on this?" Like that's a very, very funny scene. It's not punched up in a writer's room. It's written into the page, into this, like it's a whole scene built around this sort of joke of it, and there's not a whole lot of dialogue in it. Like it's just a fleshed out scene that like takes place with a little bit of like quiet in it, and this has none of that. Like it doesn't even like come close to trying to imitate any of that.
Yeah.
Like-
Were you just talking about the music, or somebody was talking about the music? Because I feel like the score for the first one is so great. It's like Danny Elfman like nailing like
Oh, that was Danny Elfman?
1950s like,
Dude, even like the-
sci-fi kind of like
That's cool.
space kind of music.
I don't want
And
to
then-
sound like an old guy who's just like, oh, nothing was like the originals, whatever. But like again, like there's so many things that like make the original great, and they could have done them in this, and they just chose literally not to. Like the first one has the scene where like we're following like the bug like flying around on like the highway, and then it just kind of gets like squashed on like a windshield, and it's just kind of like, well, that's over, and that's kind of like what life is. And this one, like the credit sequence is just kind of like, we're looking at this same colored, like it doesn't even like change colors when they're looking at like the galaxies and they're just flying through. Like they didn't try to do anything creative with the credit sequence in this. Like it felt like no love went into the making of this.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it was just like, we want to keep holding the copyright to this, because I just found out after leaving the movie last night that it was based on like a limited series comic
book, yeah.
in the 90s, and so I'm like, that must be the reason, because they have the ride still functioning in a lot of Universal parks, which we were talking about right before the podcast started, is a very an intense ride.
Yeah, but I think Sony does these. Sony keeps making like fucking terrible reboots, and Chris Hemsworth keeps showing up
Is
to
it
do
Sony?
them.
I think it's Columbia.
Columbia, because she puts on the sunglasses and she's like, get it? But then it also is Sony, because they have their really uninspiring, it just says Sony and then the little ding, and that was it.
Right. I mean, these films are profitable. I mean, I think after the third, they were like ready to do the fourth, but I think they kind of like...
Well, because they were going to do that like Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover.
And that was even another one that they were going to do, like the MIB 23 or something.
Which they were, I feel like they were trying to
that came out during the Sony leaks, I think. Right?
Yeah. It was like, I think they might have been trying to do that without this, like being a little self-aware of like, the Men in Black, because they were like, what about the Women in Black? It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that was, I think, just annoying. I don't know.
Like there's some guy like in real deep red state being like, yeah, come on, shut up. PC culture has taken the Men in Black. Darn it! First the Ghostbusters, then the Men in Black.
I was just reading that they made like a similar, like we were just talking about in the Toy Story one, like thank God we didn't review Dark Phoenix or whatever, like the latest X-Men one. But I was reading in a review that they literally made like that same kind of like, X-Men, why not the X-Women? And it's just like, it's like this new wave of like wanting to be woke, but like it's painfully obvious you did like no work, and you're just kind of pandering. It's like the Endgame scene where it's like, what if all the girl superheroes ran all right next to each other, but then we also give them no real lines in this movie? It's just kind of but they get their moment,
But that's
right?
how it did feel. I think when I even the scene. Is that the one where they're on the rock and what's his name? Chris
Hemsworth. Oh yeah,
I always
he does.
get them fucking confused.
And he
But
goes,
then he's
"Men and women."
oh, and then he looks back at
You're
the girl
welcome.
and he's thumbs up, and she's like, oh, yeah.
That
and
was
I'm
that was
that is
kind of
so
funny though, because it played into him being just a dumb character.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
But
it's
that's
just
also just the writers trying to get ahead of the
Yeah.
joke,
Right,
And
yeah.
it's okay.
But that was at least sort of semi-self-aware, because he's trying to be
right where he looks back and he's like, right,
woke and
yeah.
give me approval.
Do you think this movie would have been more enjoyable if we hadn't just finished 11 years of Marvel movies?
I think it would have been more enjoyable if we actually knew what was happening. I feel like this movie was. You just
what the fuck is
we
this
just
rock candy?
came in the middle of a movie, and then it's okay, now you're watching it. We don't have any backstory to anything.
Did anyone else laugh every time Liam Neeson, somebody would be like, "Who's on the case?" And Liam Neeson would be like, "H&M." I was just the
I did
Swedish
not catch
clothing
that.
retailer, and he'd be like, "H&M, H&M, H&M."
Oh my god! I
What
did
about
not-
you, Agent IKEA?
It'd be like having it'd be like two M agents, and be like, "Eminem,
Yeah.
I was thinking that,
chocolatey delicious."
I was like, are there only 26 agents at a time?
I don't know. And then he's high something.
He's
like,
high T.
oh man, he should have been high C, and and then Eminem, and I don't know.
That's like wasn't it in Men in Black 2 when Michael Jackson has that weird cameo where he goes, "I'm Agent M." Wait, okay. That reminds me.
Oh,
Can we talk
man.
about
It's in the deep recesses
Yeah,
of my
same.
memory.
Can we talk about? I texted you right when I left the movie, Joe. This was the thing that pissed me off the most, because they do this in all the movies where they're like, these celebrities are secretly aliens, and the person they chose is the clearest alien is Donald Glover,
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh,
because they showed Ariana Grande. Somebody
the other
else.
people that they had him in there they had Elon Musk, who he made sense because
That's
he's
like a
doing
meme
weird
so-
stuff. Ariana Grande doesn't even really make sense.
She's like, I'm from outer space.
Also,
why wouldn't you pick Miley Cyrus? You should be picking people
Or
who are doing
Ashley O.
outrageous
so
stuff.
I have an actual question. When you guys did you see their faces?
Who?
Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because ours was cut off. I just knew that it was Donald Glover.
Yeah, there was something wrong with our projector where it was definitely the top of the screen was cut off.
Because I could see Ariana Grande, obviously you can tell who it is,
I recognize those legs anywhere.
but the top half of her head was cut off, and it was the same for Donald Glover.
For the whole movie,
Well,
they never
I'll-
adjusted it.
No, yeah, it was the top of the screen.
But
was kinda
you didn't
cut off,
really
yeah.
notice, I don't
Yeah.
think, until that scene. I was like, oh,
'Cause
weird.
at the very top of the screen.
Yeah, I was like, maybe that was a thing where they couldn't
Yeah, it
use
was
Donald
Donald
Glover's
Glover,
face.
Ariana Grande, and then Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those
yeah.
makes sense. The other two are
I'll give you Ariana Grande because if you're a baby boomer or something, you'll be she's weird.
Oh my god, she does look like one of those little tiny aliens though that pour the coffee.
It was also
And then she goes, "Oh, that makes sense. Donald Glover, he makes cool music." It was just
I've seen
how do we write a millennial? They like Donald Glover. This is America. It's just kind of fill in the blanks.
This is the Men in Black.
Pop star I like. Must be alien. Next joke.
Also in that same scene, she's walking around MIB London, and she's like, "What the heck?" And then she sees a cute alien, and she's about to pet it, and everybody goes, "No, don't pet him!" And then she pets him, and he falls apart. And I'm like, what happened?
Isn't that your worst fear?
They're gonna pet
petting
somebody
a
in
dog
front
is
of
going to
her.
fall apart into
Tiny
five
little
smaller
things
dogs.
turn into a big thing.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
it's the reverse.
It's the reverse.
It's a big thing, just tiny.
Is it satisfying seeing a big thing break into small things?
Well, I was just.
In his brain, the big Wreck-It Ralph falls into a bunch of little ones. It's perfect.
Fuck yeah.
Justice is restored.
Perfectly balanced.
Great job, H&M. Mission accomplished,
Now
H&M.
here, have this $8 T-shirt that will turn into dust.
The thinnest fabric ever.
Is everything on sale, or are we suspiciously cheap to begin with?
Did you go in the rain and your t-shirt melted?
Who is making our clothes and how old are they?
Wait, speaking of clothes, this is another important thing to bring up. So,
Did they ever wear the suits in this movie?
yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought that they're in like a bunch a bunch of things.
Well, when they go to
club,
the trains island,
The what?
The
the
trains.
train. I can't think of her name. Rebecca. Yeah. I'm working on a lot of callbacks right
She's
now.
just playing the island. Welcome to the island.
No, but because Emma Thompson is saying
Pour a spot of gin, would
to
you have
Tessa
it?
Thompson, no relation, but she's like, the Men in Black, we have to fit in, you always wear the suit, and they're like in the middle of I forget what country they're in for the majority of the movie, but it's like they're running around.
England, yeah.
Also, how is that fitting
wait, no.
in?
Exactly.
Wearing suits.
Yeah, they're wearing
also-
suits, and everybody else is wearing like loose-fitting clothes because they're in the
this
desert.
Is called MIB International, but like the fact that they're international really has no bearing on
No,
the plots of the movie.
It takes place in Marrakesh or something, right?
Yeah, Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's not like I
that's
expected it to be like what
Like a
what's the-
globe-trotting adventure or something.
that or like what's the we reviewed it. Kingsman, Golden Circle.
I
I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is what MIB London is like. And then they can world build another part of the organization.
I had the same exact thought because they go to the London. I'll rewind to a question I had, but she gets on. Why do they have two offices, first of all? Because it's a few-minute train ride, and then she gets off at London, and it looks exactly like the other office. It's just different people
And also, it's
working
in
there.
MIB headquarters, and at first the transport looks like a subway, and then without warning, they're like, okay, now it's a supersonic jet.
That part I didn't understand because it was like, if that's in MIB headquarters, why do they have to disguise it?
And why is everyone
can't
so
it-
surprised?
Yeah.
They all were like standing up, like, "Oh my god!" Like, don't you just know that happens on your commute now?
It's like getting on the. I
thought I was just gonna go down a
every
couple
morning, being
blocks.
like, "Whoa!"
I was just trying to go to Coney Island and I didn't realize this was going to London.
No, but it's like people that go on this train every day are surprised that it's started to move, kind of. But like, yeah, no, the Kingsman 2 did such like a fantastic job of kind of like, oh, we got to go to our like American, our American branch, and it's like really funny. It's like a whiskey distillery, and there's like
that's
they're all
funny.
like cowboy, like ultra masculine kind of. But yeah, also, I feel like this thing just fucking whizzes through the plot.
Yeah.
And
The development.
I don't.
And the
Is this
exposition.
movie like
and-
exactly 90 minutes? Because I was checking my watch the
No,
entire
this is like
time.
over 2 hours.
What?
Yeah.
Way too long, yeah.
Dude, no fucking
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
We saw it at like 9:15 on like a weeknight in 3D.
I went to the. This is
was a lot.
in
How was it?
181 episodes. This is the first time that I went to the bathroom during a movie scene for this
Oh my
podcast. I never
God.
do it, but I was just like, I'm so bored.
When did you
and
go?
I really have
When did you go to the bathroom?
It was when like shit
Tell
started
us.
going down with the guy from the club. Like when they walked outside and then
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
explosion
yeah.
When
started
the
happening.
Mucinex booger was like, please take this.
So you missed the most important part.
Was it?
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say is kind of cool about this movie, and I don't remember if it was in the last ones, but I like the artificial barriers that they put between the general public.
Yeah.
So like when they walk through the little barrier and they're like, oh cool, now all this space stuff is around. I think that's fun.
But it's also like, what an interesting concept, kind of like keeping the original trilogy in mind. It is weird that we're reviewing two fourth movies today, Toy Story and this, and they're both kind of the same. I didn't really like Toy Story 4. Yeah. But what's it called? It's an interesting concept where it's kind of like the secret organization that recruits people. We've already seen that with like Will Smith and everything. But then like, what if there was somebody who has like wanted this their entire life? And like, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But then they just fucking throw away that concept like right away. Kind
Like,
of.
what the fuck happened to her parents?
That's
Yeah, she's like, I have nobody.
I know.
That's the other thing. In the first Men in Black, there's like don't they have like a whole like day where like Will Smith is like, damn, I'm about to like leave everything in my life behind to do this. And then in this movie, Tessa Thompson's just like, no, I've been like a fangirl like my entire life, and
To be
I'm
fair,
ready
it
to
is.
throw
To
away
be
everything.
fair, like he meets with Tommy Lee Jones on the bench, and Tommy Lee Jones is basically like, you have until tomorrow to make your decision.
Right.
It's all day, but they just do like a a time lapse while he's on the bench, and he just sits on the bench and thinks about it for
Right, but
hours.
that's still powerful. That's an entire day.
No, it's effective. But
Tessa Thompson goes, I'm a fangirl. I have no life. I have no second thoughts. Like, you know.
But like,
just-
did her parents die? Because like, why would she want to
She
leave
just doesn't
them?
care about her
She's
parents.
just like,
Yeah.
fuck
She's
y'all.
like, I'm indifferent.
Bye.
Yeah, she's not like an orphan or anything. She's
Right.
not like, she's kind of a loner. but
her training sequence was also so fucking lazy in this movie, where like she gets hired and then
It's
they
wild
they
how
just have
they don't
Emma
skip through
Thompson in
that.
front of a computer like hitting approve for 2 weeks of training and then being like, all right, you're ready to go get assigned to this like
she
top
got-
secret mission where we have like a mole that we're suspecting in the MIB and we're gonna
No,
send
she
it.
was just supposed to go to London.
Yeah,
He's
she
like,
didn't
that was the
know.
test all along.
yeah, that's, wait.
Oh,
Yeah, why did she go to London?
Because, well, there was also, I think, more
Silence.
orientation over there, and then she split off from the orientation. Remember the guy with, like, two
She
glasses
went to
on
like
top of
hot
each other?
guy. She went to Thor.
Right, yes.
oh, yeah.
She went to Rag Hisnarok.
That's the other thing. They have zero chemistry between them.
It's so
but
uncomfortable.
We've literally seen them in Thor Ragnarok have like chemistry, and it's
That
just
is
like,
weird.
Wait,
Yeah.
she was in that?
Yeah, they're both in it together.
Yeah,
And
she
it's
was
kind of
Hulk in
like
Thor
a-
Ragnarok.
Yeah, that was kind of like the selling point of this was like reuniting them after.
Right.
Can
match
I
with
just
Thor
say
Ragnarok.
he was really bad.
Yeah, I
Like
don't-
his where is
I
he
don't think-
from?
I think he really
Australia, I
wants to
think.
So
be. He really wants to be a comedic actor.
but
and,
his
sometimes I'm
like
just
accent went back and forth so much. I was like, I'm not sure if you're trying to like pretend to now have a British accent or like
I think
not.
he's,
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
think
he's
about
one of
that.
those
It was-
weird. He's like a weird case of like he's an incredibly attractive person who can't really carry a movie as the straight man of like a movie. You know, like
Yeah.
he needs to be like the side character
Yeah.
actor, like he was in like Ghostbusters, where like,
Oh, he was so
do
great
it.
in
He could do it in
Ghostbusters.
Thor. But like the Thor movie, I think really worked when they turned him into like a comedic kind of like joke. Like
Right.
when he became a caricature of like Thor.
Did it
in-
bother anybody else in this when he kept just doing that a really awkward smile all the time? Like he
Like
never
this?
showed teeth. He was like he does that in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
but I
that's
was
weird.
like, why aren't you? He's like, man, I guess Paris did change you. The Hive changed. I also saw that coming 5 years. Like, once they said that, like the Hive, and I was like, okay, so somebody like the Hive took one of them hostage, or
I
whatever.
think Sarah and I like looked at each other in the movie. We're like,
We're like
mole.
the Hive.
I actually found a quote from that. What's it called? Walter Chaw of Film Freak Central.
Woo.
I just film freak.
Yeah, you get it.
I'm not a frequent reader of Film Freak Central. I just saw this quote and I followed it down the Google rabbit hole. But it says
Say this.
It say this. Anyway, turns out there's a mole in the London office of the Men in Black, and if you don't know who that is and why that is, then this is the very first movie you've ever seen. I'm glad you're seeing a movie. They're great. I just wish you started with a good one, and hope you'll give the experiment another try. It's just like this movie is so much more interested in giving us like this wacky plot that you see like coming from a mile away, and the twist is so obvious and uninteresting, and they spend so much time like setting it up.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be high T or C.
What?
If the mole was going to be high T or if it was going to be no, high T is
Or
Liam
C,
Neeson,
which
or
is
C.
like the guy that had the glasses.
Oh, well, he's like the
high T
obvious like
or-
red hair. He's like, I'm probably the mole because I'm mean to the main characters. But then it's actually, Liam Neeson because
Yeah.
he's like a father to me. He's like a father to me. He's like a father to me. This film does This film does like a whole lot of just like people say things and never show things.
I kind of feel like also Liam Neeson is one of those actors whenever he's in a movie, you should assume that there's going to be a twist at the end where he's going to be the bad guy. Like
Right.
Batman Begins. Am I crazy or is he in Wanted?
I don't
Remember that Angelina Jolie movie?
No, Samuel Jackson,
Oh.
I think. Wait, I don't know what
I
Liam
think
Neeson would be.
I feel like he was.
And then
in
he
that.
like took his own daughter and Taken.
But the whole
Was he in that?
yeah.
Okay.
Men in Black got taken.
But like in addition to like Liam Neeson was like a father to me. That's the other thing that they keep repeating and that they never show
It's
and
Morgan
doesn't.
Freeman, not Samuel Jackson.
Oh, that's what it was. What's it called?
Our other father figure in American cinema.
but they keep going,
this is
Chris Hemsworth character has changed. Oh, he's changed.
But like, how do we know he's changed
Yeah,
when
that
we
was weird
literally
because-
don't know what he's
Then we
like?
see him in the flashback, and he's the same fucking guy. He's
Yeah.
like the same like.
It's like, propose when you get to the ground floor.
And like when he hands like the MacGuffin weapon over to Tessa Thompson, he's like, "You keep this. He's changed. I don't trust him. He's changed."
That's what I missed when I went to the bathroom.
And then everybody is just always like, "Is that Chris Hemsworth? He's changed."
I think it would have been interesting if we didn't have Tessa Thompson whatsoever. Like, she tried her best in this. Like, she didn't have a lot of great stuff to work with. But if it was a movie just about Chris Hemsworth and and Liam Neeson, just because it's like you could play more with, like, instead of having another time that it's like a new recruit and learning like how to exist in the Men in Black, which why is that the plot for all the other movies?
Yeah.
Like, and have it be just the Men in Black are established, things are starting to go wrong, and no one is sure who to trust. Right. And like having nobody be able to be trusted is much more interesting than like it's one of these three people.
They clearly wanted to do like a spy movie with this. They want to do spy. Men
they
in Black.
so desperately
like,
wanted to turn this into James Bond. Yeah,
Men in Black. So like in James Bond movies, we don't have like a new like 00 whatever agent like showing up, and James Bond's like, shit, I guess I got to show you the ropes.
Right. Also, Tessa Thompson, I like the first one because it has such a sense of wonder, but Tessa Thompson is literally impressed by nothing in this. Like,
nobody is.
She's not like an audience surrogate at all. She's just kind of like,
exactly. That's the only reason you put a new character into the circumstances.
You don't put in a new character.
Harry Potter experiencing the universe,
No,
so we can go. I didn't know about that.
She was impressed by the gun in the mirror.
That's true.
She was like, "Whoa, look at all
Check,
those
please.
guns." Yeah.
But after every
please.
other thing.
Yes.
Yeah, we
I
never
also
saw
fucking
like,
hate when she picks up the little cricket and or noisy cricket, and she's like, I don't think so. She didn't fucking know that shit. Like, it's an inside joke. She wasn't there for.
Right, yeah.
Also, full disclosure, the first 30 minutes that I was in the theater, somebody behind me was snoring very loudly. And I was like, I wish, dude.
You're like, that's
Big
relatable.
mood. Big mood.
Yeah. I also, I saw this at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my god.
And to
Not even in 3D.
Yeah, I saw it in the 2est of Ds. And to like enter...
Sabrie's really amped that we saw it in 3D.
and to like, I left the theater and I got a lift, and the lift driver was like, what movie did you see? And I said, Men in Black International. And he was like, oh!
Conversation over.
I don't want to hear about it.
Well, they were all shocked, and honestly, as
We
I was
don't have
talking,
to talk.
as I was talking to them about it,
The one time an Uber driver says doesn't want to talk.
I'm driving here, okay?
well, we all
I
couldn't
should
believe
really keep my eyes on the road.
we all couldn't believe that like there was no mention of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Like the only thing you saw is that like picture next to high T and H, and it's just like it's crazy. Like I bet Will Smith, if they had asked him, he would have been like, yeah, I'll do like a quick little like stupid joke thing and just call it a day. Mm-hmm. Like I can't imagine him turning that down.
Yeah.
Even a Tommy Lee Jones cameo would have gone
Or even
really far.
Josh Brolin cameo, because he was Tommy Lee Jones on the third one.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't...
Yeah, because...
They were time traveling.
And he like died or something.
Well, I read the Wikipedia synopsis, and there was some villain created like an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
And so
Which is again
haven't seen the third
like all the other Men in Black movies try to tackle like these big like metaphysical like astro whatever, I don't know what the real scientific term for it is, but like astronomy like concepts and like science fiction concepts, whereas like this like
but
is
the
it really,
Hive was coming.
Is it really a science fiction movie? Like what was the Hive? Just they
The
just
two
show up
men?
and they
Never-
terraform stuff and
Again, the Hive is bad, the Hive is bad, the Hive is bad, but we never really know why.
I don't think the people that were there were even the Hive either.
No, they weren't. They
They
It
were
was
just
just-
like
oh, no.
fire guys.
Yeah.
They were the good guys who brutally melt somebody's face at the
They're
beginning.
like the twins from both
Breaking
Matrix
Bad.
Reloaded and Breaking Bad.
That's the entire
Oh
time.
my
All I
God.
could think of, I was like, these are the fucking. Why do people think silent twins are badass?
The Shining.
well, also they also kill. It's crazy we haven't talked at all about Kumail Nanjiani in this movie.
I mean, he's the
It's
ray
the-
of sunshine in this very dark movie.
This is the summer.
At
This is the
times.
summer of Kumail. Like we
Is he
got
the one
this,
with
and
the
we got
beard?
and we got
He's
Stuber
the
coming
little
The
out.
little alien. He voice acted the little alien.
He's the pawn.
Pawnee.
Pawnee.
Oh,
But
Pawnee's cute.
I saw Stuber a couple months ago as like a little sneak preview. It is not a good movie, guys. Hopefully they fixed it in the couple months that since I've seen
They
it.
spent a
but
lot of money on marketing and
I
advertising.
have a T-shirt with Kumail's face on it, and he's just like, because he's like, man, I can't believe I'm about to be stupid. And okay,
This movie is Stuber.
and I don't mean to like take over with a sidebar, but I feel like this is right up all of your alleys. So I went to this preview screening, and to hype up the crowd before the screening of Stuber, they brought cheerleaders from Temple University to lead cheers about Stuber.
Stuber, he's our man. He can do it. No one can.
Honestly, not that far off. They were like, let's watch Stuber.
Oh my god.
And they said, give me an S, give me a T.
That is the most.
I was mortified. And they also were like, we're giving you guys free popcorn and free soda. They gave you like a party favor bag of popcorn. Like when you go to Party City, you're like, oh, this needs to just like hold down the table. Like that's the size of the bag. Mm-hmm. It was wild.
That is so weird. I remember you were sending us pictures of that, and I was like, this looks bizarre. Didn't people have like the signs that you would hold up at like a sports game of like a giant
like Joel Embiid, but it's Stuber.
Right, yes. Oh man.
It's so upsetting.
It honestly, see it just to be like, what is this movie could have been good.
Right.
And like good for Kumail for being like a bankable star at this point.
Yeah.
But also like, boy, oh boy.
He announced the Oscar nominations.
He
last
did.
year. Yeah, he's definitely up there for sure.
God, and the Big Sick was so great, and I'm just like, I'm watching Stuber and Men in Black International.
He hosted the Spirit Awards.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a couple of years ago.
He could use a little spirit, I'd say.
Yeah.
Speaking of spirit, Glug.
I feel like that. I liked Pony, but like I also feel like that was just created to get like kids in seats, kind of.
And also
in the
Because
same movie.
where did he go at the end of the movie?
He went. He stayed with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
She gave him to Chris Hemsworth as a gift, which was weird.
Because she's the queen, so like
Why wouldn't he
can't.
just stay with? I don't.
it's like
He was also like.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he was like. Just like the ADR character, they were just like, this scene isn't that funny. He's like, booyah!
There was a ton of scenes where I was like, they definitely punched this up in post, and then we're like, Kumail, can you come back and
like I think he recorded all of his lines on an iPhone in the bathroom. Like
part of me thinks that his character might have been completely written in after the fact, and then they went back to shoot like the one scene where he like actually interacts with people instead of just being like shot at the characters, shot on Bonnie.
The majority of the movie, he's sitting on a dashboard, and he's like, "Whoa!"
And I can tell you, he's like the little kid. Or he gets like the little kid laughs in the theater, kind of. In a movie where, again, a man's face gets melted, and Chris Hemsworth just fucks a tentacled alien.
That was the only laugh in the theater when he took the thing off, and
he's like, "Help! I'm poisoned." She's like,
anyone else?
"If you fuck me, I'll give you the antidote."
Wasn't that her husband or something?
Yeah.
Did anyone else feel really weird about aliens in suits in this movie?
What's that?
Like the gangster aliens,
Yeah.
like the bodyguard at the end, who was the alien that she met in the beginning, just an alien but in a suit. And then the one other gangster alien is just an alien.
It's weird how that was one scene where it's
but
like,
in a
oh my
suit,
god, you're
like
the guy.
a really nice, like tailored suit. Like I don't know, that was really off-putting to me.
If I can't have a nice suit, nobody can.
Yeah.
Because like in the other Man in Black movies, that's never been a part of it. It's either been like they're wearing the human disguise completely, or they're just an alien.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was like I heard you say the like furry little blue man in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then at the like towards the end, he's just like this big creature, and she's like, "Oh my god, is that you?"
Hoobity doobity goo goo, and he's like, "I will kill now."
I did think that was kind of a nice twist. Like I think this movie is really, really god awful in the beginning, and it sort of comes around at the end, but it's like too little, too late. Like it has a really nice climax to it, but it's like, oh, that's like a climax for a movie where I cared about these characters earlier.
But also,
I understood who they were, and
there's like no visual flair to this movie. Like it felt so bland, and like it's all really dark. Like I remember Men in Black, like because MIB headquarters, it's like this sterile white color that everything is kind of in broad daylight. Like, that's the whole thing. It's all this is happening in broad daylight, but humans don't realize it.
Yeah.
And all of it takes place at night in abandoned areas of the
club.
Eiffel Tower.
They're really trying to do like the... It is. It's like they're trying to take on a different genre with the Men in Black movies, with the spy, like, espionage thing, where it's just kind of like, oh, they're, going around the globe or whatever, and they're...
Sorry.
And, they're in, like, the Middle East, and, they're in a nightclub, or, it's just weird.
Anytime a movie is in a nightclub, I'm like... Yeah, okay, I'm not doing this.
But
I want to go to a nightclub in real life.
In movies, everybody loves nightclubs.
the dance break was so cool, though.
I was cracking up when the twins were dancing. I could not stop laughing.
That was pretty...
And we saw it in 3D, so it was like, wow. They're real good.
There's just so many scenes. There's so many cuts in this movie that don't make sense. Like, like when they are in... what country were they in?
Marrakesh.
I don't know if it's a country or a city.
It's a city.
Marrakesh
is not a country. Don't know the country, though, so I'm not going to name it and be rude.
Well, but what's it called? There's, like, one part where Chris Hemsworth, like, lifts the like, MacGuffin weapon. Like, kind of like he steals it. Like, it's like a pickpocket. He takes it out of her pocket. He's, like, looking for this. And I was like, you did not know she had that? It was just, like, such a jump in logic. And I was just like... You don't know what it is. You don't know, like, that she had it. When did you take it from her? Like, there was just, like, so many, like, rules in, like, filmmaking that were being broken, like, all at once. It was just, like, you're doing this for the convenience of, like, oh, shit, I feel like there were so many rewrites. It's just kind of like, I don't know, Chris, just take it out of your pocket so you guys have to talk about it before people show up so we can have the next action scene.
I could, like, hear Robert McKee just vomiting during this movie.
I also love when they do the motorcycle chase. And, like, Men in Black has been all about, like, what's it called? The
nebulizer?
Neuralizer or whatever. And then...
Isn't Nebulizer the one in Minority Report that makes you vomit?
Oh, I don't know.
I haven't seen that movie since I was, like...
It's good.
9.
But
whatever.
What's it called? Chris Hemsworth's like, whoa... You working on, like, alien technology right out here in the open? And he's, like, got it under, like, a blanket. And then they fucking blast off in front of, like, thousands of people. But then she's, like, trying to hit it, like, once. I'm like, that's still hundreds of people. That's just all, like, alien technology.
And also, the whole thing is you're supposed to, like, say something afterwards so their memory gets plain. So they're just like, we just all flash forwarded it. Oh, man.
We're all just scared.
We all saw the
why.
same date in the future.
I also love how he, like gets the bike and he's like, so it's pretty straightforward, right? Like, how to drive this. But then he fucking, like, fixes the bike later and is, like, just, like, rolls his sleeves up and is, like, working on it like a hot-ass dude. Like, when he didn't know what bike it was or how it worked before. Like,
oh, did you pick
a lane for Chris Hemsworth. Like,
did you pick up a bunch of alien tools before you went into warp speed into the middle of the desert
also,
where no one else is?
Or just even normal tools.
Oh, right.
Like, it's not like they had a backpack or anything.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There's also, like, a weird cut where it was hard to tell why she was mad at him, and then they were using, like, Kumail.
Which time?
they were using Kumail, like, to talk to each other while he was fixing the bike, and I was like, I feel like we missed a scene where they got mad at each other. Because, like, it just, like, cut to, like, oh, it's nighttime now, and...
Well, I think it was, like, she was just generally tired of him being like, you're so reckless. Even though she was the one that,
her fucking character... like, so poorly defined in this movie. Like, they can't, again, just like Chris Hemsworth, they can't fucking pick a lane for Tessa Thompson in this movie, where, like, in the beginning, she's, like, the nerdy, like, hacker girl who's, like, doing whatever on the computer.
Right.
Then, like, when she's, like, first at the MIB, she's, like, kind of like the goody two-shoes, like, by the book, by the rules type MIB person. Mm-hmm. But then they keep throwing in these, like, punchlines for her, where, like, I felt like they were just trying to, like, hip-hop the movie up, like, at times. Where, like, it was just like, oh, like, punch up this, like, cultural reference. I cringed so hard in the scene where the Kumail's like, oh, like, are you a queen? And she's like, well, in the way that, like, all women are queens. Like, that's a whatever line, but, like, that doesn't make sense for the character that you're, like, half-assing for, like, Tessa Thompson in this movie.
It's also,
like,
if she was a trained MIB, she'd be like, yes, I am a queen in my country or whatever.
She had 2 weeks of training.
I also would have loved, like,
and her supervisor just pressed yes on approved.
But also, speaking of Tessa Thompson, I would have loved 5 minutes, if that, at the beginning, after she doesn't get neuralized in the 80s, and just like a couple minutes of her being obsessed with like aliens and
Yes.
extraterrestrial stuff growing up, because she's like, everyone thinks I'm crazy.
It was also weird that the movie opened with 2 flashbacks from separate time periods.
Oh yeah, they said it's 20 years earlier, and then it's like, okay, now it's adult Tessa Thompson, but is that before or after what I saw a couple minutes ago? Propose to her when you reach the ground.
There was like a part 2, I think, in the club where I don't even know exactly what she says, but she was like mad at Chris Hemsworth's character because
Because he was
trying
like,
to
she
pimp
was
her
like,
out.
"Are you
Yeah.
pimping me out?" But I'm like, "Didn't you ask to go on this mission?"
Yeah.
I also love when she is like doing like the training montage or whatever, just like the approve, and it's like A+ in all alien languages, and then they get to the club and she like, huh? Me never talked to an alien before, and I was just kind of like, again, pick a lane, like she
she
can be like
did
the smart,
know.
intelligent one.
But she did know what the guy said, the big blubber guy.
yeah. Well, that could have been a whole thing too of just like, oh, she's super by the books. When it comes to actually working in the field, she doesn't know anything. Like that could have been the whole
if
thing.
they just picked a lane for both of them, then the dynamic could have really worked. Where like, yeah, she knows the books, but she doesn't have the street smarts. And Chris Hemsworth, not really a big like brainy guy, but like he knows how to get by on the streets. And
Yeah.
he can be the veteran who's like, well, I've been through this before, and it's
That
not
would've
like
been-
they teach you in the academy. Throw your training
Clearly.
out the
It would
window.
have been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like,
But there's no dynamic because we don't understand these characters at
Yeah.
all. So like, it's whenever they want to throw like a cheap laugh in there, they switch their dynamic. Where like, she can be like the goofy one here, and Chris Hemsworth can be the goofy one here. And,
Right. It's not, yeah. It's just everybody's hamming it up.
yeah,
I
Where
want to
again,
know.
Will Smith was the only person bringing levity to like the original Men in Black.
yeah. And Tommy Lee Jones is the straight man in
Right,
that
yeah.
comedy.
I want to know like what Chris Hemsworth went through. You know,
He
like how did
changed.
he change?
He hasn't
Like-
been in this change. Why did he change? He just got neuroized or whatever.
But maybe I guess
because
that's what
I think
changed
because
him. But
the whole deal was that he wasn't really that great beforehand, and then
he's worse.
they told him that he had saved the world, and he got
we
this
did
ego.
nothing with it.
So afterwards, he's walking around like, "Oh, yeah, like I saved the world. I'm Chris Hemsworth."
oh, but
and that's-
Also
because
Liam
he
Neeson could
single-handedly did it, but really he didn't.
yeah.
I don't know, but he's.
But
I
they
mean,
should have
I
made
don't
him
think
less
he's-
confident and like more like he should have
No.
fucked up in that flashback with Liam
Exactly.
Neeson.
'Cause in the
so that it was like,
flashback-
oh, like that guy
Yeah,
saved the world.
yeah.
Because in the flashback, he gets hit, kind of like swings off a pole into the elevator, and he's like, "Hey guys, you didn't see me again." Like, maybe propose when you
Yeah,
get
they're
back
trying
on
to
the
make
ground.
him the Will Smith character where he's just smooth
Right.
the whole time.
Because then, like, yeah, literally nothing has changed. He's the same character. He's like a very suave guy, and he's like also like what's it called? Liam Neeson is very confident in his abilities. Like, what took you so long to get all the way back up the Eiffel Tower? Kind of like there's not even like a crumb of like he used to be a bad agent.
Yeah, but they also tried to give Liam Neeson the Tommy Lee Jones line of being like,
Right.
sometimes you're right where you need to be at the exact moment you need to be there.
Yeah.
Which, like, okay. Which also
Sure.
weird that he would keep giving that advice if he was trying to
Be a
break
mole?
the... like, if I was the mole, I'd
let me
be
give you
like...
some real wise advice.
Yeah,
and
like
I'm
if-
trying to kill all
Tell
of
me
you.
all the secrets.
Like, if Liam Neeson...
That's weird advice.
Yeah, if Liam Neeson was the mole, he'd be like, you should do all your paperwork poorly.
Sometimes your first instinct is the wrong one.
You know what? What if
Praise
we...
the hive.
You know what? What if we went public and just let everybody know what we do? Okay, lunchtime. Who wants tapas?
What if we emailed the hive?
Hive at. Also, I'm trying to think. What is the hive? That like whole
Good
concept.
question.
What is the idea?
They're just bad guy.
Because I kept thinking of that. That sci-fi trope of like, oh, this like. Like theoretical, ethereal being that like kind of takes over a group of people and they're all just kind of like under their control, kind of like a body snatchers type thing.
Yeah.
Which, if they had just shown like a little bit of that, that would have been so great. But at the end, it's just like, I'm Liam Neeson. No, just kidding. I'm actually a big squid guy.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
So the
why
fire
did the-
boys were real, like good.
The what?
The
They
fire
were fighting
cleanse?
against the hive. But
Because
why did
they were trying to kill
why did they not
Booger.
use that device at all throughout this movie?
What?
They copied the like twins, or just the one guy, and turned into twins, and then they didn't copy and play as anybody else. In
They
the
can only
entire
afford
movie.
2 dudes.
They couldn't find as many twins.
Like
to-
I was waiting for there to be a
the
scene where
movie.
like Chris Hemsworth was one of them, or Tessa
Right.
Thompson was one of
yeah.
them. Like that's built into the device that you're trying to hamstring into this movie.
Shapeshifters that shapeshift like once.
Yeah.
That used to be like one of my dream superpowers when I was a kid, was shape shifting.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't know. Oh man, like that. Another thing. I thought they were gonna bring back back in MIB London when that lady is slowing down time to like look and like jerk off to Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, no.
The like tentacle lady.
Yeah, and I was so surprised that there wasn't like another like time augmentation element at some point.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, why didn't Tessa Thompson use like her smarts of tracking down, like an alien to...
She's like, I see you. Ooh, very clever. You're not an asteroid. And it's like, you knew they weren't an asteroid.
Also,
Tracking
like, how
aliens.
can you just not be suspicious of, like, what's her name? Tina Thompson? Tessa?
Tina
That
Turner.
girl. Like,
What's
she just
MIB
comes in, she's
got
like,
to do?
I found you. Like, how would you not be like, oh, you're like another, like from another entity or like
It's
agency
crazy
or
how
That's
You're
exactly what
the
the Hive
mole.
would say.
Yeah, right? You are the mole.
Sounds like a mole.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder who the mole is.
Wonder where that mole problem came
She's
from.
just like, oh, you're right. No one ever has like sought us out.
Wait, is nobody gonna-
You're hired.
Is nobody gonna suspect the new girl who literally just walked in here 2 weeks and is now in the main office? No, it must be Chris Hemsworth.
It'd be funny if the mole guy was the mole guy from Austin Powers. And they were all like, mole. I just watched that again. And it like kind of holds up. I love
Those are the end of an era.
Agent A, and it's Austin Powers.
Oh my god, I saw Austin Powers with my mom in theater once. It was like I forget which one it was, Goldmember.
This sounds like an awkward experience.
Yeah, I like told my
lot of
sister
sex
about it the
jokes
other
in that
day, and
movie.
she
I'm
was
not
just
gold.
like, she was like, "Mom took you to see that." I'm like, "Yeah."
My mom took
I
me
don't
to
think I
see
was allowed
Knocked
to
Up.
see that movie when it came out. now that I
Good,
think about
Mike.
it.
That's probably.
I mean, I
the
still
best.
watched it, but at a friend's house on DVD.
It's pretty hot. Austin Powers is fine. You're telling me that there's a mole here, baby. There's like, I think we've all kind of reached a consensus. Like,
Yes.
there's like, even if they did just so many things slightly differently, if they changed like one little story element, I think it probably still wouldn't have been that memorable, but it would have been like, okay, that was kind of fun. But it's just like, it was just a slog.
It did kind of seem like it was a movie that was built from like the climax outward, where they were like, "All right, we have this like really memorable sequence."
Kinda.
Like I do kind of like the climax because I like
What
when I went
part
to
is
when
the
I
climax?
like,
Which one?
when Liam Neeson is revealed to be the actual Hive,
Okay.
and then like the portal opens up and he's got the weapon and he's about to go. And then like Tessa Thompson gets like sucked through the portal. Like,
And then
I thought that
I
was
feel
really
like I
nice.
did not
My
see this part of the
queen.
movie.
Pawnee uses a grappling hook.
Yeah, Pawnee
Did I
like
fall
goes to
asleep?
like grab her.
I like
It
the
was
guy
like-
behind me in the theater.
I can't remember if they literally overlaid Liam Neeson's whatever, but it was like the whole like you're just in the right place at the right time.
They did
So, like,
overlay it.
When she gets back, then she fires the gun, and it because she's in the right place, she's able to not only kill the Hive, but it goes to the portal and destroys the Hive for good.
Which, like, I
having a hard
don't
time
know if that's really
remembering
right place at the right time. Like, if Chris Hemsworth had the gun, like, he could have shot
Could
him.
have done.
Also, is the Hive even bad at this point? Those twins weren't bad.
They do DNA stuff.
But maybe that's like good. Maybe they'll solve like medical things.
Maybe they'll solve medical things.
I did like
I'm for the Hive.
Are they part of the Hive?
Hive 2020.
this.
You can't spell Sabrie without Hive.
I did like the kind of like celestial look of like the twins. I think the fight where they are disassembling like the car with guns, like when they turn like the pavement into like liquid
That
or
was
whatever.
cool.
And yeah,
Just
I like
like-
when they kind of like look like two galaxies.
When they
or
started
something.
doing that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to the bathroom. Be back in 10 minutes.
Meanwhile, I was like, this is probably the peak of my interest in this movie.
I also finished all of my popcorn before the movie started. Because I accidentally got there too early. So I was watching Maria Menounos be like, you saw a Hyundai commercial.
and one show from ABC Family.
She apparently has a podcast. which I cannot imagine anybody.
Oh my god, we
to.
should all listen to it after this.
I think it's called like Moments with Maria Menudo or something like that, or like Talking Movies, something like that.
I did say, I feel like there's, I've been seeing a lot of articles lately where anytime like a movie does badly, a bunch of people involved in the movie like surface and like kind of like point fingers.
Who pointed fingers in this one?
Like on like Deadline or like the Hollywood Reporter. I forget which one it was, but I took a quote from like one of them. Oh, not even a quote. I just wrote it. But basically, there earlier drafts of the movie, it was supposed to be like more edgy, more timely, kind of about like immigration. And the bad guy was like this Beatles-esque movie, like music group that like merges into one villain. And apparently there was like a producer who changed everything, like both like before and like during the movie. Also, Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson both hired their own dialogue writers and everything.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's weird.
So yeah, I don't really know what happened.
Maybe they didn't give them full control and they were just punching up each of their lines because nothing felt cohesive about either.
No idea.
What if like they did keep that storyline and it was like One Direction and then they all just turned into like Simon
here's how we improve this movie.
Then they all
One
turned into
Direction
Simon
is
One Direction is the Hive.
Oh my god.
And the Hive is good.
Honestly, though, like that's, I mean, it's like not a new concept of just like, oh, like music that hypnotizes people, but
like
it's like
Josie and the Pussycats or something.
Also, really good movie.
Right.
The international title would have made so much more sense if they kind of had like the like Ringo, John, and just like those. I don't know. And then the immigration thing would have made a lot of sense. I mean, there's so much.
Like you could do that with this movie, and it wouldn't be like preachy because like the whole thing is like there are aliens coming through, and we need to make sure that they're okay.
Right? Yeah.
There
like,
are still elements that
have,
survive with the immigration storyline in this.
Barely,
But it's just that it's not really in the plot. It's in the like the weird like side exposition they do when they're talking about like the Eiffel Tower being where they first brought alien immigration in. But it doesn't really matter for the movie.
Right. There's just so much great like Brexit, fucking like Trump,
and also
whatever.
like if that storyline comes through,
my god, what if we slam dunk on Trump and say
Ariana
that he's
Grande,
an ugly
Elon Musk,
alien?
it's like a weird storyline to have in there too, because it's like, oh, like, you know, like we first brought like the first immigrants through like the Eiffel Tower, and like, you know, my parents came here through the Eiffel Tower. But then in this movie, it's like the Hive are trying to come through the portal, and we're just like,
fuck you,
all you gone.
Tessa Thompson's like, build that wall. But even Men in Black, the first one touches on immigration in such a like way more
because the aliens that are in the actual like human
like,
trafficking
Earth
trucks
is supposed to serve as like a refuge for aliens without a home.
Yeah.
Like that's their kind of mantra. Kind of.
It's almost like witness protection in a way.
Yeah. It was such like a great New York story where it's like we're the fucking melting pot and the Statue of Liberty and everything. And like this could have been that, but like on an international level and said a lot of things. But then like some producer was like, no, boring. It needs to be the Hive, scary twins.
That was like I'm trying to think of the specifics, but that's almost like Jeffrey Katzenberg. His original like idea for Toy Story was just like Woody is unlikable, and it's just like super snappy and flashy and everything. Everybody's just a dick, and everybody's like, no, this is stupid. We need some heart, and we need like actual story. And I feel like people they made this movie with the intention of, oh, people will remember the general vibe of Men in Black and be excited to come back, but it's just like a weird copy of a copy of a copy that doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah, it's like a game of telephone, and we've completely lost what Men in Black
felt so
was.
far removed from like the original, and it's like
it is
how
just
because you have the same title doesn't mean that you have any actual real like substance or whatever that.
Check, please.
Bye.
Wow, cool gun. Check, please.
Yeah, no, I felt like kind
of. Is there any? What was your favorite part? Let's go around and say that.
Everybody say one nice thing about
I did like
Everyone say one nice thing about this movie
before we tear it apart in our ratings.
This movie isn't clever either.
No.
There's never like that's all the Men in Black things like, or it's kind of just like, oh, we work in a post office and this alien's disguised as this and this is this. It's just kind of like it's not clever at all.
I guess the beard was kind of and then when he's like, I'm taking this to the big guy, and then he goes, and then we never see him again. They're like, we're just gonna yoink that again.
Yeah.
It reminded me when she first walks in or whatever, to the place. And then there's just like all the aliens. It reminded me of like Monsters Inc. when like I don't remember which one, Mike Wazowski walks in, and it's just like, oh my gosh, look at all these like aliens doing cool things. But then it's like they didn't have anything else to do with the movie.
Yeah.
And that's such a bummer. Like, that's what it's about. I want to see the cool aliens. I don't care about hot Thor.
For a movie that had probably a very high budget, this feels like a weirdly low budget movie. They like spent all the money on getting Chris and Tessa that they were like, okay, I guess we're just going to be in like this one part of the backlot the whole movie.
Budget was 94 to 110 million estimated, and box office 182 million so far. So
what's like the
made
normal
it back, although they did have a big
movie?
advertising campaign. So I don't know if
what's like the normal budget for a movie
for something like this, like 100, 150, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say because like the Marvel ones like really inflate the budget costs.
Yeah.
They spend a lot on those.
But
on
like
the green screens, they spend
that's
much.
Oh my
a
God,
decent
the green,
budget for like Sony Columbia doing a movie.
There's some terrible green screen work in this movie. Like, there's just so many scenes where Liam Neeson does not have any shadow on him.
There's such a bad one when
the desert.
when he goes. No, when they have the revelation that Liam Neeson is the mole, and they go to the woman who took like the suitcase with the weapon in it, and they go up to her and they're like, excuse me, can we see where like the weapon or whatever? And she's literally standing in front of like a shaking green screen. Like, it's so bad. It's just like the green screen must be like this far behind her too. It's just like, it's some of the worst.
It's like, nah, that's not green glow from a green screen. That's just space stuff.
All right. They just put like a graphic behind her that's like a long hallway. And she's like, let me see. It's bad.
It's like, just stand in a long hallway then at that point. Like really.
The like plot of like Chris Hemsworth having like a history with her was so like under fleshed out. Like
the lady that had the hair,
the train lady,
yes.
Yeah.
Because what?
Hey, soul sister.
What a weird song.
I didn't like her. I didn't like any interaction
she literally made
had.
For somebody that was like
she could
third,
have not
fourth
been in
build
it,
in
and
the
I
movie.
wouldn't have cared. Like,
it was also just like
she's like,
she was like,
I'm also a bad guy.
She's such a crazy, dangerous arms dealer, but she's got like 2 bodyguards and that's it.
But I feel like it's also the excuse to like be on a boat in the middle of the ocean and then like scale.
It was one arm
wall.
that like came out of like the center of her back. It was really weird.
It wasn't as helpful as it could have been.
No.
Also, Chris Hemsworth nearly died so many times in this movie. Like, he was beaten to a pulp.
I did like his pink pants though when he like went to see her.
Yeah, those were nice pants. She was like, "You wear pink pants."
She was like, "You're definitely not. That's not black.
You've changed.
There's no way you're in the Men in even." They don't wear suits in so many scenes in this movie. I'll stick by that. I was like, yeah, he's already been in khakis.
But isn't like, you know, like, do you guys remember Alias? Like with
Jennifer Garner?
Yes, that was like my favorite show when I was very young. And I wanted to be a spy. But like, I think that's the thing too, is like they are trying to be a spy
Being
film.
a spy
and like,
is just wearing costume.
It is, but like you wear like a blue wig and now you're a different person. You have like pink hair and like a black like leather outfit and you're like not the same person you were 10 minutes ago. And I feel like, oh, I put like pink pants on, cool, like.
Yeah, Tessa Thompson puts on like a black blouse.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, now I'm going to climb. No, I don't think she really talked British.
Remember the Men in Black like cartoon like Saturday morning show?
No.
Oh man, it was like the same as like,
so much for that conversation piece.
It had a lot with the aliens. The 4 little like.
Yeah.
They didn't even have
like
the good song in this movie.
What?
They didn't.
Come the Men in Black.
Or Black Suits Come Nadia.
Which are those aliens racist?
Oh, I don't know.
They all have like Mexican accents, right?
They do look exactly like Pepe the Prawn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Speaking of which, happy 40th anniversary, the Muppet movie. It's not funny.
Don't fucking laugh at what I say.
The lovers, the dreamers, and me.
This was kind of a hard movie not to fall asleep in. Honestly, it
Can
was
I
just
be honest?
It's a
I
good,
think
good bathroom break
I
movie.
think I did fall asleep during maybe the part that Mike was talking about, the
climax,
portal,
yeah.
because
The
They went
loudest
back
part?
to the Eiffel Tower at the end.
yeah.
Okay.
I also had a migraine during this movie. It did not help.
Well, I had
Did you get neuralized? Is that why?
I had glasses.
I can't remember.
Mike, do you wear your 3D glasses on top of your?
I didn't
glasses?
see this in 3D.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
I
didn't
forgot
know
it's
that-
not
But
in 3D.
when I do see 3D, I go to IMAX 3D because the screen's bigger, so the glasses are bigger.
God.
Cover more of the screen.
That's my problem.
Don't go to Real D 3D
No,
if you have glasses.
But it was like on a weeknight, and it was like I get off work at like 8:30, and I'm like, oh man,
What a treat.
yeah, we could
Say
go.
what a treat.
Like I'd rather go now than
Oh,
at, like,
boy.
I'd
How do
rather
I top
go.
this night off?
I'd
After
rather
12
go at
grueling hours at the
9:15.
office, now I get to go see Men in Black.
I'd rather go at 9:15 and see it in 3D than like the next night at like 10 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was at 10 and
Yeah.
it was brutal.
So then I had like my glasses and then like the 3D glasses, and I was just like, oh. And I looked at
It
Joseph
takes
at one
like 20
point.
minutes before
No.
you get like
I
acclimated.
literally looked at him and I go, I think I'm like really nauseous. And he was like, you'll get used to it. And I was like, okay.
This is movies now, babe.
I felt bad. Like, we walked into the movie and she was like, all right, I guess we'll see this movie. And then, like, the 3D trailer start. I'm like... And then I see her, like, looking at glasses while, like, already wearing glasses, like... I just see her, like, fidgeting with them for, like, a solid 15 minutes. I'm like... It's gonna get better.
But I think I do need my eyes rechecked, because then I took my like regular glasses off and
I can
everything
see.
was like aligned, and I was like, that's not good.
Why do I see in 3D?
Remember the first time when you saw like a Real D 3D movie and the preview screen, like they added the drop shadow?
Yeah.
And you were like, what? This trailer's been approved for all audiences and I can almost touch it?
It's coming at me!
Quick, Men in Black!
Oh, boy.
I don't have a whole lot of fingers for this movie.
Kind of reminds me of, there's like a really great line in BoJack or something about like movie times, and it's like, well, we could skip dinner and see the movie, or we could see it like really late. Like, it's just like there's no in between time.
I'm like really impressed when like they have like a 2:30 movie. Like, who's going right now?
Right,
It's
yeah.
Wednesday.
My dad.
But there's like never time to just like eat dinner after work and then see a movie. You either have to skip dinner and like see it like, oh my god, I gotta rush out of work and go see this movie, or it's like, or the movie starts at 10:15.
That's what happened. I was gonna. There was a 7 o'clock movie, and I thought like
7 or 10.
And I thought like, okay, it's like 6:30. I can finish up eating and I can like miss some of the previews. But I was like, I don't want to rush. And then I
And
ended
you
up.
got there too early.
I did.
What's worse?
Maria Menounos or going
Missing the
hungry?
first 5
Or
minutes.
missing that. What's worse, seeing it or missing it?
You saw Angel Has Fallen. Don't forget to come early. Who's excited for Angel Has Fallen?
Oh,
Is it like a new like Olympus Has Fallen?
Yeah. Oh, you guys
it
didn't get that
completes
trailer?
the trilogy.
Yes. So first Olympus, then London, and now Angel, which is Gerard Butler.
His name is Angel and he's fallen.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
think
would
Gerard
totally...
Butler was in all of them.
Yeah. So
Oh,
his
okay.
whole thing is that
Oh.
he's being
I'm not-
framed
I
for
don't know what this
a
movie
drone
is.
assassination attempt on the president. He's like, I gotta go clear my name by finding the bad guys. Punch, punch, punch. Even though, honestly, watching that trailer, I was like, I'd watch that. It looked like fun.
All right. Their whole market has to be like dads getting horny for action, you know, like just.
I would do the same thing if I was in this situation.
Oh my! Yeah, were we talking about that before? There's just an entire genre for like guys who were like, oh my god, I can't believe they took his daughter, dude. If somebody took my daughter, I fucking win. Oh, I feel bad for the guy who took my daughter. Oh my god, just guys who get amped up. Like,
I thought the same thing.
Just need a righteous excuse to kill
right,
somebody.
yeah. Oh my god, I would. You don't even want to know it. It's like the same guys who are like, what? There's men. There's men in women's bathrooms? What the? Oh my dude, if I saw that guy, oh, I better vote red.
Well, another trailer that I saw during this movie was the second Maleficent movie.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
they had that same like action cue of like, and I was who is being convinced that this is an action movie? It's like Maleficent being like, I'm
Oh, the
evil,
villain from
wink.
Sleeping Beauty?
She's like,
Yeah,
I made
what
a
the
girl
fuck is her
sleep
story?
forever. Do you think I'll do the same to you? And she's like,
I'll make
goes-
everybody sleep
the
and then I'll
lady
be
goes,
lonely.
is that a threat? And she's like, what do you think?
I remember when the first Maleficent
like, I
came
don't
out, and there's all
know.
these like think piece articles that were like, Maleficent's really about like the story of like being raped, and I was like, I don't think that's true. It's a kids movie.
Hey guys.
I think you're reading a little too deeply into this.
I've never seen it.
Neither of
And
us.
I've actually never really cared about Sleeping Beauty.
No.
Is that what she is
How
from?
is
It
that
was
an-
too old.
How is that an interesting movie? Like, she's asleep.
Your protagonist is asleep. The
Disney
entire-
Renaissance.
Did you not, like, her
Sounds
name
like
is...
me watching Men in Black International.
Oh, sorry, I made a very ugly noise into the microphone. If you've lasted this long in the podcast.
I think they're going.
I guess we gotta end the podcast now, Ross.
I guess we can't record any more episodes. Thanks a lot,
Should we,
Ross.
I feel like we all have to
Listen to
hold
Kid
hands. No? Okay. Oh, I will cry. Don't play that.
God damn
Reminds
it.
me of when I was in, like, 4th grade, that song.
Did you graduate when you were in 4th grade?
No, I
Was that
just
when-
knew about it. Like, when, I think that's when it, like, came
She
out.
went
And
to
I
a
was
lot
like...
of graduations.
I was like,
in
man,
fourth
this is so relatable.
As we go on, we do remember all the times we had together.
And, like,
Wow,
yeah.
that sounds just like me. I remember all the good times.
Oh, yeah. So, okay.
grade. All right.
Oh, God.
But, like, should we really just all hold the fingers we think we should vote for together?
Everybody grab fingers.
We're just gonna watch it.
Everyone hold their pinkies. No? Okay.
Okay. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll go
this?
first.
Let me read the Rotten Tomatoes first.
Oh.
You did. You gave it to... It was 24%.
Oh, I did
But he
say
did-
yes.
Oh, what was the... What was
Say it
the...
again.
24%.
What do those smartasses have to say about my movie?
Yeah,
You didn't
read it.
give
Yeah,
the blurb.
we did. Yeah,
Blurb it.
amiable yet forgettable. MIB International grinds its stars substantial chemistry through the gears of a franchise running low on reasons to continue.
I think we need that one
It's
more
so
time.
true.
I think a third time would be true.
You want?
Actually, 2 more times.
Oh, the average rating
Yeah, I got
was
neuralized, so I didn't hear.
4.49 out of 10.
Oh.
Huh.
Bye.
Boy, bye. Men in Black, bye. I give... Are we doing now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it. Take
So
off.
when I walked out of the theater, I wrote in my phone 2 out of 5 fingers, but I can't give 2 out of 5 fingers to this movie.
Because it's not 2 out of 10. It's 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm saying that for myself more.
Cool.
Thanks for confirming what I just said.
Hey, Sabrie, I got a finger for you, huh? I'm kidding. You're very nice.
I'm
Get
kidding.
him out of my house.
We're all friends here.
Hold pinkies.
Yeah, I gotta go get my car in the courthouse. I mean, we don't live there. I gotta give this like 1, maybe 1.5 fingers. One finger and 2 knuckles or whatever. Like it's. Usually when I see a movie and it's like bad or something, it's like I can still be like, wow, I can't believe how bad this is. But I was in the movie theater and I was just like checking the time constantly, trying to figure out how much time was this movie? When is it going to be over? And like, I loved the first 2 Men in Blacks, and I've heard good things about the third, but this just had nothing. It was just so bland.
Yeah.
So 1 or 1.5?
1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, because you gotta keep those 2 knuckles in there.
Constantly.
I'm gonna give it 1 finger. This was pretty bad. The only really redeeming quality I can think of is the climax, where like I remember like kind of like waking up and like coming out of like my like migraine at that point and being like, okay, this kind of feels like I'm watching an actual movie, and then it kind of just quickly goes away. And I don't like it. A lot of times with like a bad movie, I feel like I can see like a clear path to like, well, this is where they went wrong, and this is how you fix it. But this just seems so misguided in so many ways. It doesn't seem like it needed to be made at all. Like no one was asking for it. I think what Ross said was right, is that it was probably like a rights issue of Just like Spider-Man, like we've got to make a new Men in Black movie every
Right.
decade, otherwise we lose the rights to it or whatever.
Why is Sony only stuck in these contracts? Whoever's writing up Sony's contracts
lawyer has got to be awful with these. Like,
Jesus Christ, we're gonna make 3 different Spider-Man franchises in a decade. Like
Jesus Christ, yeah.
the Ghostbusters thing, I think maybe they were losing the rights to that too.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, this was just, it was not very funny. It was punched up, but like not effectively. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't sentimental. The character development was not there at all, much less like character establishment. Like we didn't know who the characters were, and then they didn't go anywhere. It was just like the middle of like everything. Like no beginning, no end to these characters for their arcs. It was just such a pointless, dumb, meaningless movie. I did not like miss anything when I went to the bathroom for like 10 minutes in the middle of this movie. Like I kind of just like sat in there on my phone for a while. Like, do I have to go back to watch it? International.
I also left the theater for a second because I was like, I need to stretch my legs, get some water, and both of the water fountains were broken.
That's like the most depressing part of this whole thing.
No water? What did you do?
I drank my own piss.
And it was better than Men in Black International.
Because at least the piss was a refreshing take.
Yeah, it's just like, like I don't know, like if I don't mind sequels if you're, but like pay attention to what made the movie great in the first place that you're trying to capitalize on the name of. Like because I stuff like this like makes me feel like studios don't have enough respect for audiences, and they don't think that people who are going to come to see this are going to remember Men in Black at all. And they may not be able to like put words to like, why didn't that like captivate me the same way that Men in Black did? But they're still going to know that like it fell off. It did. Yeah, there's a feeling to it that it was nowhere near the tone of Men in Black. And just if you're not going to do that, and if you're not going to try to make it like fresh in a like, you know, fun way, if this was just like people who don't know how to make a movie really like make a movie. It felt studioed to death, absolutely. And
definitely.
like there's talented people in this. Like Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson have had chemistry before in Thor Ragnarok, and like I don't know,
that is so surprising to me.
That movie worked for me. And
you have the Men in Black like IP kind of like, it's just there's so many things going in their favor. How do you fuck it up?
Yeah,
They could have done just like a Rip Torn movie, and I would have watched that.
So one finger for me.
All right.
And you can guess which finger it is.
Oh man.
The nebulizing one or whatever.
It can't be a thumb because a thumb is technically not a finger.
That's my impression of your listeners, maybe. I don't know.
It's accurate.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've already laid it all out there. Again, it's not really clever. It's not funny. It's like a really bad script where it's just kind of people, the dialogue is just doing it's just kind of, he is bad guy. Like, he is like father. He changed. And it's just kind of like, all right, well, maybe show me in like any scene or whatever.
The
like
phrase
you guys,
that Liam Neeson keeps repeating is so clunky
right,
too.
yeah.
You can hear everyone stumbling over it.
I've heard people say that before, but why are you
they
saying
use better words.
Sometimes what you want to be is in the right place.
Do you ever have a dream that you could like feel as if you could be in the right place at the right time?
Like, it would have made more sense if Liam Neeson was just like, hooah, or something.
Tessa Thompson's like flying backwards in the portal, and all of a sudden she hears, hooah.
She's like, oh, my
Damn,
God.
I forgot about that.
I remember.
And then Bonnie's like, hooah, my princess. I mean, queen.
Yeah.
Booyah! The kids go wild.
Cowabunga, dude.
Yeah, I just feel like this movie, Toy Story 4, almost every movie we've reviewed lately, and we've talked about this, like, it's kind of the reason we've lost the drive to continue this podcast, is I think movies, more now than ever, are just pumping out, like, these very non-original ideas, and they're just really fucking up, like, these, beloved franchises and everything. I feel like we just kind of say the same thing every episode.
Yeah.
And it's just, it stinks that this is the last one we review, but it's also just kind of a thesis of like, this is why we're done kind of thing. I mean, on top of other things, obviously.
Mike and Joe hate each other now.
Yeah.
Men in Black International ruined our friendship.
Who's the mole?
It ruined movies. Yeah.
We've got a real H&M relationship.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's everything. I'm going to give it 1.5 fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the same level.
So I'm very honored to be the last person to review.
Fuck. Wait, I'll go again.
This is always so confusing
let
for
me
our
take-
viewers when there is an episode coming out in 2 weeks.
Who cares?
We're just
Who
recording
cares?
this last.
I might cry. I've had a bottle of wine, but also like when I think about like Men in Black, like it's really sad that like this is what it's come to. And like I don't know. It's like I don't know how old Chris Hemsworth is. I don't know how old this Tessa Thompson. I can't get her name right. Tessa.
I don't know how old this Tessa Thompson broad
But
is.
if, let's say like I were in a movie, they're like, Sabrie, we need you in Men in Black International, and I'd be like, you know what? Okay, cool.
Are we just going into a dream scenario?
Yeah. Hold on, let me live it.
She has a bunch of journals that say Mrs. Chris Hemsworth,
No, Mrs. Will Smith. But like,
Mrs. Pug.
but really
This is
though,
Frank-
like
Frank
if I were asked to be in
This
this
is Tony
movie,
Shalhoub, the shop owner.
if I were asked to be in this movie, right, and
Uh-huh.
I had watched this as a kid, I'd be like, there's so many things that, like Mike was saying, like there's so many things that don't connect, that don't make sense, that don't like reel you in from the first one, that you're like, this is clearly like just money. And it's like, that's sad that that's what it's like been.
You gotta
And that's
wonder
what
if-
it comes
did
to.
did these people sign on like to a script and then they were just locked into a contract?
Right.
Or like did they sign on and it's just like, oh, we're going to make another Men in Black
Right.
script forthcoming. Are you in?
Right. But
And
it's
then
just
they're
like sad.
oh, fuck, we're stuck
Here's
in
a
this,
few
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Like, shit, whatever.
stuck in this
But
horrible
it's sad
movie.
that that's like what it is. And because Men in Black is such like, I don't know, like aliens are cool. And we should
Take me
all
to your
believe.
leader.
But just like being a kid and being like so in awe and so in wonder of like that's what it is. And even like I did watch all of the trailers today of all of the movies, and like the first one I was like, man, it's like when you watch the first like Jurassic Park, whatever, you're like, man, that's clearly fake. But it looks so like you're just like, oh my god, like imagine being like a kid in 1997,
Yeah.
and being like, holy shit, this is so cool. And like even watching the trailer, it was like so corny of like, here's all these things flipping over with guns and all this stuff, but it's like, oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just took all of like 2019 technology and put it into a movie and like didn't put anything real into it. And so I'm giving it 1 finger.
Wow. Like I hate using the expression like, oh, like this ruined my childhood, but it's just like this is it's really a shame that like
It's
this.
gonna make me cry.
Yeah. Well, we know. But just one of those things.
We've heard.
Yeah, but like, yeah, we've said this so many times. Like the original Men in Black, the second one is fun. Like,
Even the third, I've seen the third one's like okay.
yeah,
like, it's not terrible.
It didn't have to be this groundbreaking thing that like reimagined or like turned the concept of the Men in Black and Women in Black on its head, but just like this gave us nothing.
Yeah.
It's really not hard to make like a fun summer blockbuster
No.
movie. Like I wasn't, like we talked about like how deep kind of like the first Men in Black can be. Like this didn't even have to be that. It just, it had to be like beautiful people, like wearing like nice clothes, like suits or whatever, jet setting across the world and like, goofy aliens, like, popcorn movie. And
Like if I just saw more aliens being funny, I'd be like, oh
and
my
they
god.
miserably failed at that.
Here's my alternate pitch for Men in Black International.
Okay.
Like just alien Carmen Sandiego. That's it.
God, yes.
Right.
Who am
Where in the world is
Yeah.
Zip Zap Zombo? Whatever.
All right. Well, all that's going to come out to 1.25, and we'll round that down to one finger.
Ooh.
Whoa. Is this the lowest you've ever had, or have you had 0 fingers?
No, I think we've had a half finger before.
Yeah, we've definitely had a half finger.
Ooh.
Whoa.
We had a couple half fingers. Like Sausage Party was one. The Shallows was one. The Circle was one.
Damn.
What's
what was
the
that?
circle?
What was,
That was the one with Emma Watson
Emma
where it's
Watson.
like,
Oh.
what if
Hanks.
Google
Oh,
bad?
yeah.
what was the
What
one
if
with
Google bad?
Wrinkle in Time was one of those.
Oh my
that was a half
God.
finger. There was one more. There's a bunch. I can't find it.
Damn.
Well,
Don't feel like looking.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, do we all hold pinkies? When's the holding pinkies
Let's
part?
turn the GoPro off before we... Oh, God. Oh, that was empty. It's all... And the
God,
cap
Ross,
was on.
Get out of my house.
All right. We have any last plugs before we sign out of this last recording session?
I mean, just thank you guys so much. Like, I think you two were one of the first, like, friends that I made in the podcasting community in Philly. And it's like, it's been very fun doing this podcast. And I'm very looking forward to, obviously we have the episode in 2 weeks coming out, but I'm very much looking forward to what you guys do in the future. And also, Kidflix is doing the Philly Podcast Festival on July 20th at, I think, 3:30 p.m. at Tattooed Mom, or 2:30. Just
you're back
go.
at Tattooed? Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You definitely show up for that.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time.
Yeah.
That felt dirty, but
No, not at all.
No, yeah.
just like
That's what the plug bag is for.
Open up the plug.
I don't have a plug bag, but I just love you guys.
I just have a lot of feeling.
I want to plug. I might
just-
cry.
I want to plug my pinkies.
But
We should all.
I just have loved watching you guys do this, and I will admit I have not really listened to any episodes. On
And
my
usually
own
I lock
free
myself
will.
in my room when you guys are recording.
Yeah, you listen through the walls. With most.
I do, and I think that's the thing is like I haven't
I've loved
contributed to
listening
any listening power,
involuntarily.
but it has been just like fun watching you guys like do the podcast.
Little
So
podcast.
yeah, so
Little jokes.
when we log off, are we gonna like officially like log off? It's gonna be like beep boop, and then we're done.
What?
Yeah, you really did have a full bottle of wine.
I'm glad somebody turned up for our final recording episode.
Yes.
And I had a
Somebody didn't have to try tonight.
I just gotta go up those scary stairs. Bye.
Well, yeah, you've been part of some of our favorite episodes, both of you as well. So thank you so much for coming
I'm really
on for
glad
this
I
one.
did not yell. I really like kept
You
it
did
together.
not.
The
this time.
rest of us yelled though.
I think every other episode I've just like yelled. So
Kept it
sorry.
at a good volume.
Yeah.
You've learned. That's the
Thank
growth
you.
of this
Thank
podcast
you.
is Sabrie learning not to yell.
It's the lesson the whole time.
There's more growth than was in Men in Black.
Sabrie had a better character arc than anyone in Men in Black.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what, Sabrie? Sometimes you're in the exact right place
Don't.
in a million years
Sometimes
that you
you
need
feel
to be.
that as if you like.
You're really gonna
When
break
there's
it.
a place that you should be in the.
You know what?
Let's-
And these speeches aren't clunky at all. Keep it going.
Let's neuralize each other and start this whole thing over.
All right, guys, let's start the episode.
Oh my god, I would.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Tune in for our actual last movie review in 2 weeks. We're reviewing Toy Story 4 with Amy Uhas, nay Camacho, and Nick Ocello. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll have our final episode doing a party here.
Yeah.
Party!
Everyone's
Yeah.
gonna fall
So,
on the stairs.
I think we're doing that right after the podcast festival, so I'll be
Oh,
coming
really?
straight from that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Podcasted up, ready to go.
Yeah. I got my Zoom and we're gonna go to the moon.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. And then you don't have to stay tuned for anything after that. 'Cause we're,
Yeah, then you can just hop
we're
on the
waiting
Kidflix
down.
feed.
Bye.
Yeah. Hop on the Kidflix train.
Yeah.
All right. Well, signing out for the last time for us, but not the last time that you'll listen to because there's you get it. Blah blah blah. We're signing out. This is Mike.
This is Joe logging off. Beep boop.
See you later. Bye.
Fuck.